Hi, my name is Neve Byrne, and welcome to my podcast, Honey, You're Trans. My goal is to spread awareness around the transgender community. I'm hoping that by sharing my journey, it helps those struggling to take that initial first step. But also, I'm hoping that it can help family members, friends, colleagues, wider society understand what we are going through. So come join me on my journey. Hi, my name is Neve Byrne, and my pronouns are she and her, and welcome to my second episode. Today, I want to talk about hate speech and free speech. I normally don't like to talk about politics, and this is not what this podcast is about, but I think it's a very important topic that we need to discuss today. At the end of September, the government announced that it was dropping its plans to introduce HB laws. And this was a massive blow to our community, to any minority community out there. So to give you a bit of background on this HB law, so I'm going to have to read some notes because I can't remember all these kind of words. So back in November 22, a bill was introduced, incitement to violence or hatred and hate offences, which was brought before government and unfortunately stalled at stage 8 of 11. It was put before our politicians who actually passed the bill. It went on to the next stage, which we called Shannon. But one thing to highlight here is 110 TDs voted in favour of this bill, while 14 voted against. So we had support from the majority of parties. So, the question I have to ask is, why all of a sudden did we drop this bill? At the start of this year, one of the parties who was in full support of it turned around and changed their minds, no longer supported the bill. So it looks like government gave in the pressure from this party, from other backbench politicians. Is it the fact that there's an election coming up shortly? This is the very disappointing part. When I came across this bill, it gave me hope. Ireland as a country has been so progressive with legislation over the years. It has its shortcomings as well, but we are progressive. It shows our society is progressive. And to find out that this bill stalled and all of a sudden has been dropped was heartbreaking. One of the senators of the Seanad responded to the bill being dropped and was quite happy because he didn't agree with it in some senses. But what really annoyed me was the fact that he basically said the free speech, it does allow people to offend others. And as a politician, he's had to deal with this. But that's the difference. He chose to be a politician. He knew what this would entail, and his decisions along his career path may cause people to get offended who disagree with him, and he is open to them attacks. But that's a job, that's a choice he made in his life. That's a career path he went down. Whereas trans people, members of the LGBTQI plus community, and other minority groups, we didn't choose this life. We were born this way. This is who we are. We can't walk away from us. He can change his career and he'll no longer have to deal
with hate speech. Whereas this is something that we encounter on a day to day basis. This is a time when we needed these laws put in place. It would give our police force the powers needed to deal with these people. Language can be very powerful and empowering, but unfortunately, it can hurt people. It can incite violence, drive division, and that's the difference. Free speech is important. It allows us to debate, discuss, educate people on topics. While hate speech is purely used to hurt people, and it's usually minority groups, small groups of people who are just trying to live, just trying to get through the day, just trying to be true to themselves. If people genuinely believe what they're saying to be true, then why are these people hiding behind keyboards? Why are they using fake accounts? Why do they not show pictures? These are the kind of people that genuinely anger me. People that will wave at you and say hi to you in the street and then turn around and hide behind the keyboard and call us deviants. So back to the government side, there was issues raised with the bill, and rather than fix them, they simply dropped them. And that's the disappointing part. The government has once again abandoned our communities. And I don't understand why. Like, these are questions, like, these are people we have elected to represent us. So the next time a politician knocks at my door, I will be asking these questions to them because they have no right to be in government. We elect these people, we give them the power to represent us. So that's my question is I'll be asking why. Why did you drop this bill when you supported it? To the party that basically changed their decision? Like, how can I trust a word that comes out of their mouth when they can change their minds as quick as the wind changes direction? They will no longer be welcome at my door. I'll politely ask them to leave. And I think as a society, we really need to start asking these questions to these politicians when they come knocking on our door for votes, whether it's government or local elections. Parties need to start answering these questions like. And as I've said, this show is not about politics, and that's about as much as I want to talk about it. People can educate themselves around this topic and make their own decisions. And I hope that when a politician knocks on your door, you ask him these questions because it might not affect you, but it most likely will affect a family member, a friend, a colleague, a member of your community. And it's important that we look out for each other, we protect each other, we help those around us, because that's what community is. Some people watching this may never have experienced hate speech. They may not understand because I've often heard people say, here we go again when it comes to the LGBTQI community. whether it's in the news or on TV shows or films. I've heard people say, oh, here we go. Like they've never experienced what it's like. Before I transitioned, I was privileged. I was a white Caucasian male. I never experienced hate speech. When I was walking down the street, I never had to look behind me. I never had to worry about who was in front of me. Once I transitioned, I was suddenly targeted for being who I am, for looking like I do, for being who I am. People believe I shouldn't exist. And what does that mean? Should I be killed? We've seen where ideals like this have led to before throughout society. And we cannot allow us to go down that route again. When I transitioned, I couldn't understand how people could be like this. I didn't expect that I'd have to justify my existence to other people on a constant basis. So some people, like I said, never have experienced it. But words can be extremely harmful. They can hurt people. You could be having an amazing day, and then all of a sudden it just takes one comment from a stranger and to just ruin your day. And for transgender people, this can be even more difficult. I suffer with gender dysphoria, which means my body I was born with doesn't align with my gender identity. And at times, it can flare up, whether it's from hearing comments or when someone says something nasty. Like if someone intentionally misgenders me, if someone intentionally refers to me as a man. This has caused me in the past to become withdrawn within myself. It could be for hours, it could be for days. Like these are days where I can't look in a mirror because I focus in on the male characteristics that I have. Features that people don't see, but I see. And it's difficult. So, like, words, they do hurt. But I did learn from a very good friend of mine that once we take the power out of these words, they no longer have a weapon. They can no longer hurt us. Once we take the power out of these words, they no longer harm us. Another area we can talk about is cancel culture. Again, it involves hate speech and kind of hitting down at minority groups. And lately it's been mainly focused against trans women. Some comedians out there think that it's funny to make fun of us, to belittle us. I don't know if they actually realize how harmful and hurtful their words are, because it's not okay to make fun of people at their expense. While we have so many amazing comedians out there who do not need to use this content, and they try to get around it by saying, oh, I'm going to be cancelled because I use this content, because I'm making fun of trans women. It's not okay anymore. Suddenly, like, why can't people believe that we're just having a laugh? Well, you are having a laugh, but you're having a laugh at someone's expense. Like, like I've said, and I probably use a lot throughout my podcast, trans people, they're someone's parent, they're someone's child, they're a friend, they're a colleague. These are real people who you are targeting. And I think it's time we need to stop this. It may have been allowed 10, 20 years ago. It definitely wasn't okay. But as language evolves, so do we. And there's kind of one final word I'd like to talk about. I guess you've probably heard it called out in media a lot, but the term woke. Woke society. Anytime someone kind of challenges people who are degrading people, we're called woke. But do you actually know where the word woke came from? Do you know what it means? Do you know what it really means? Well, let me tell you. It comes from the African American community. It means awareness of inequality, but it's been taken and weaponized by these small-minded people. And I think it's important that we actually let people know what this word actually means. We take it back from them. Woke means the awareness of inequality. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next episode.